Welcome back to Spudventures, our semi-weekly RPG podcast. I'm your host and GM Newbiespud, and joining me again this week are Xencarn,
Yo.
AvisEcho,
Hello.
Winged Cat,
Hi there.
and GreatDinn.
The last one!
Not by design, I promise you.
I know, I'm just teasing.
Tonight we will be playing the second session of The Cinematic Universe, a 3-part campaign in a custom-modified version of Fate Core. It's the campaign that asks the question, what if you could, roleplay in something not unlike the live-action Marvel Cinematic Universe, and, all your skills were behind-the-scenes movie production stuff? Now, when we last left off, we finished what would be considered Act 1 of the movie. At the end of a lot of exposition about the Order of Olympus and bring back the terrible Zeus. But the rest I'll leave to you guys. Does anyone have any highlights they want to mention that they remember from the last session? I know it's been a while, but
I stuck a guy to a wall.
that was fun.
Gawain stared down a rocket launcher because he didn't know what it was.
Gawain slayed a truck.
I did slay a great metal beast.
Megazords fighting piloted by animals.
Technology that no one will tell Gawain is not in fact magic. They just keep saying it isn't without telling him why.
Because it's science.
Yes, it was slew a truck. That was the correct word for that. But whatever. So I don't see any reason why we don't just jump right back in then, unless anyone has any questions between the end of the previous scene and the start of this one.
So we're starting this one, Deck having made his connections, and we're at the airport now, right?
Yep, it's just jump cut to the next early morning at probably something like, just like San Francisco International, and you're walking across tarmac towards a private jet, a very expensive-looking private jet that Deck is implied to have chartered. And everyone's packed some kind of weekend bag, I imagine, for this trip to Greece.
Gawain is in full armor because he's expecting this to actually be we're going to get off the plane, we're going to fight somebody, and then we'll go home. That's how these quests go.
Over the course of the last night, there's been a flurry of activity from Agent Cook, I think it was, right? Mariah Cook?
Marion Cook,
right. Thought it was Mariah for some reason. To make sure you've got something resembling a passport.
Oh boy.
And kind of coaching you on what to say as you're going through customs.
Oh jeez. That's sir, is this a real sword? I do not know what you are referring to.
What is this metal beast you're making me go into?
I think he's had enough time to sort of kind of get accustomed to airplanes. But in the same sort of vein as cars. I think they're common enough that he's seen them. I think the rocket launcher is something that would be kind of out of his wheelhouse just in general. I don't think most people have seen a rocket launcher except in movies.
In the chat, 8escape asks, are we talking realistic Knight's armor or fantasy/action movie armor for the mental image?
It is realistic but stylized. It's basically two competing basically the costume designer and the scriptwriter both had very different ideas on what it was supposed to be, and they begrudgingly compromised.
So historical anime armor?
I wouldn't go with that, but close enough for an image, I guess.
In the
we
same
could probably
spirit.
Find something in Google that's accurate, but
Yes.
meanwhile,
yeah, what's Chromice doing? You're the carry-on animal.
Yes. Researcher Oriana Sati is holding him. because this is what you do in an airport when you're an animal.
Yeah. What of your mech?
Assumingly put into the plane.
Does it have like a compact cargo form that's somewhat inconspicuous, or?
Yeah, because I think I brought the Panther, which is a lot smaller, so it can compact a bit into like
Just put a
crate.
cardboard box around it.
It's just a crate. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
If anyone asks, it's a movie prop.
Yeah, Tentrito brings up a good point that Gawain should actually already have a passport because he's traveled from the UK to the United States. So,
Well, the assumption could be that was, government versus public. So I think there's the possibility of it having been done earlier or later, honestly.
Or did he?
I think half this cast, it's easier if it goes like government involved when crossing international borders.
Technically, he is a British citizen. He was born on British soil, or what is now British soil.
Mm-hmm. Technically speaking. Very, very technically.
Agent Rodriguez is walking alongside you, chattering on his phone, notably not carrying any luggage or dressed for new climbs. And as you approach sort of the stairway of the plane, he says, "Well, I've got to talk to my bosses back at HQ. So Cook will be accompanying you and acting as your support." He walks forward and puts his hands on Deck's shoulders and says, "Now, you listen to me. You're going to cause an international incident. We do not have permission to be operating in Greece. But if this threat is real, then we simply don't have time."
Incognito as much as possible. Got it.
As much as reasonably possible, considering that these guys can apparently throw lightning bolts and have stolen ancient Greek artifacts and all that sort of jazz.
Also, we're an inconspicuous lot, so.
Deck looks at the mecha crates, looks at the armor, says nothing.
Agent Rodriguez gives you a clap on the back and heads off towards a van that's parked near the plane and drives off, leaving you guys to ascend into the private jet.
At which point there's a product placement shot. This is a Gulfstream G600, so of course, beautiful establishing shots of the
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
So this is a product placement G600, so of course there's beautiful external and interior shots.
Slower, so that the product placement can actually happen. What is the plane called?
Gulfstream G600.
Thank you. Continue.
Anyway, so Deck leads the 3 people on, plus any idiots that are coming, and there is already a passenger aboard.
Oh boy, is there.
Who
May I
believe should probably take the lead in introducing herself.
Sweet. So yeah, when you guys I'm allowed to do a bit of narration here, right, Spud?
Oh yeah, just go for it.
Sweet. So yeah, you guys will walk on to this quite lavish interior, guided towards the back, and you see there is a woman in a sort of one-piece blue bathing suit, sitting in a jacuzzi with a glass of Chardonnay in one hand. And she smiles as she sees you, and she's like, "Deck, I see you've brought your friends. We ready to head off then?"
Gawain will take a look at this figure, look over to Deck, and then lean in and whisper,
"Is this the ferry that powers the plane, or is this somewhat unexpected?"
Fucking 10 out of 10. Love it.
I love this.
That's what we all came here for, is Gawain just not understanding.
Well, I mean, she's in water in this big metal thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's immediately going to like,
It's Lady of the Lake!
Well, she does power this thing. It is more of a possession than magic. Treat her
Well
as a queen,
played.
because she kind of is.
Oh, you're not wrong there. But please do. And she'll just wave you over. There'll be seats around. She'll be, please do sit. Tell me what's going on.
Gawain awkwardly stands there. He doesn't quite feel comfortable sitting in any of these chairs.
Deck goes ahead and sits and just, yeah, having her along was the price for getting this jet. And, by the way, she is already involved. She was involved before this.
Oh, yes. Me and
I'll
Deck
let
met
her explain.
earlier.
I see.
Vanessa will point to Chromice's handler and just be like, and if you would be a dear darling, I wouldn't mind if you kept the rodent in the cage. I don't want it chewing up the upholstery.
I can speak for myself, young man.
Trust me, the rodent chewing the upholstery is not going to be a concern. Cage or no cage.
And upholstery is disgusting. I have better taste than that.
Sorry, did you say
I
young
see.
man?
No?
I
Young
thought-
ma'am.
Oh, young
Ma'am.
ma'am. Okay.
Sorry.
That led to a
That's
very
just a
different mental image.
Admittedly, there is something funny about like the handler being like, "You wait just a minute," and then the mouse going like, "No, I got this."
She's so used to this. At this point, she's so used to this.
She just doesn't even respond, just lifts up the cage and lets Nathaniel speak for himself.
Because he can. He's smarter than both of them.
Probably.
I see. Oh, that's good to hear. So, you were about to tell us what the plan was, yes?
Go to Greece, get the artifact, stop the bad guys.
So nothing too complicated then. Excellent.
Yes, except of course for all the complications that life is going to introduce as we attempt to do this. You know the drill.
Well, yes, anything that deals with the Greek gods are often quite complicated. Which one are we dealing with exactly again?
The pagan god of lightning, hospitality,
king of the gods.
and yes, Zeus.
Oh, thank the goddess. Yeah, no, that'll be fine. That'll be great. We'll just give the pilot a couple of minutes and we'll be ready to take off, I think. Please feel free to get yourself a glass if that's what you wish.
Lagging somewhat behind, coming through the entrance is Sir Mordred, who is notably not in armor.
Well, he understands the culture better than Gawain does.
Yeah, he's actually wearing a sometimes been taken to give him a sort of modern, I wouldn't say like business casual, but like a modern ensemble.
I picture him wearing kind of a nice suit. But yeah, I think upon seeing Mordred again, sort of like actually staying with them, Gawain is going to kind of stand close by as if he's like really worried that his brother is going to be gone again. He's trying not to be like forceful, like he's not like, you know, immediately being like, all right, stay here, etc., etc. I'm watching over you, but he's standing like awkwardly in this group.
Mordred looks over to Gawain and says, and pats him on the shoulder with a couple of metal clanks, and says, "You might as well get out of that. I have no idea what the altitude will do in your armor, but better safe than sorry. I'm sure there's a bathroom, a lavatory of some kind in here, right?"
Just further down.
Gawain kind of looks at Mordred and goes, "But what if we were to encounter these cultists or pagans or whatever they might be in the sky. Surely I should be ready for any encounter, correct?
If we encounter them in the sky, that suit of armor is not going to help. Trust me. That helps on the ground. It will not help in the sky. Just the opposite.
Gawain pouts, but at two people's urgings, three people, he will begrudgingly approach the back of the plane and find a place to change.
Gawain, if it helps, do you know what metal does to lightning?
I'm trying to think if he would know that.
I feel like he would, because that's not like a modern thing. That's just nature.
Yeah, I think he would. I think he would sort of understand. Like, of course, it conducts it, but my blessings prevent me from taking too much damage from that.
Yes, you might be prevented from taking damage, but remember, we're going against a god of lightning, and we are all going to be next to you in the sky. Please don't fry us.
I think we'd be more concerned with the plane itself being conducted than just Sir Gawain wearing his armor.
The mouse is correct.
Yeah, Dex envisioning if Gawain gets outside and tries to fight.
I mean, he's probably not wrong for picturing that.
Well, if he tries to get out of the plane while it's moving, we're going to learn how terminal velocity affects a humanoid which I think is more important.
Yeah, Deck has a solution for that. Deck doesn't have a solution for not being targeted by lightning.
Fair enough. So yes, like I said, Gawain will change, and
as you leave towards the bathroom, Agent Cook says, "More to the point, this is a 15-hour flight, so everyone should get comfortable."
Oh, don't worry. I very much am.
Cook kind of pointedly doesn't look at Arachne.
She's gonna do that little like finger wiggle wave at him.
Her.
yeah, Marion Cook is.
Yep. Sorry.
No worries.
It's been a little while.
It has, and also, no offense to the actress playing Marion Cook, but she is a side character.
That is true. Anyway, I think we can assume then that plane is closed up, and you taxi down the runway, and then you're off from San Francisco International, heading towards Macedonia International Airport in Thessaloniki, 15 hours away.
Woo!
Time to roleplay that in real time.
The next 5 sessions.
I think Gawain, after the initial sort of like, it's one thing to, see planes, it's another thing to ride on. I think this is maybe his second time on a plane, and it still kind of freaks him out a little bit. But I also think that he's gotten to the point where he's like actually really freaking amazed by all of this.
Just staring out the window, hands pressed against the wall.
Yes. I think once the sort of boredom settles in, he's actually like exploring this plane, trying to figure out, obviously not how it works, but just what all it does.
Someone has to stop him from opening the side door.
Yes, someone has to stop him from opening the door marked emergency.
I'd be more worried about him messing with my incredibly expensive coffee machine.
I think we'd all be more worried with him interacting with anything.
Hold on.
Especially the door.
Let me just, I'm gonna do something real fast.
Deck will actually chaperone him and provide explanations if he asks for any. Dex actually knows quite a bit about how the plane works.
I think Gawain's not going to ask. I think this is something he wants to figure out by himself, and like actually interacting with people kind of makes him mad. I think this is one of his I think this is his aspect of like the bravely, proudly, the lone knight. I think this is him trying to quest to figure out the plane. One
Makes
success
sense to
for
me.
using the coffee machine.
Leave my coffee machine alone.
That is an average result. What would be average for a man completely out of time using a coffee machine for the first time?
He uses
On
it,
average.
but it's still kind of gross.
He doesn't do anything with the coffee, so it just spits out hot water.
Yep.
So, and I'm gonna assume he gets burned a little bit, actually.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna take any stress off for that.
It's mostly emotional damage. And I think upon doing that, assuming that after all that happens, I think it goes, I see. A most powerful weapon indeed.
If you wouldn't mind, that's incredibly expensive.
At which point, Deck gives him a look, produces a tea bag, and makes some tea with the hot water.
Hot water in a cup.
All right.
Where?
I just imagine the tea bag going in his face.
Just
'Cause that's where the
dangling the
water
tea
was.
bag on Gawain.
No, putting the tea bag in the cup.
Gawain.
Upon which I think Gawain's gonna look at it and goes, and what sorcery have you added to this cup?
Tea. Surely you had tea back when you came from.
No. No, they did not, actually. I mean, I know the whole British association with tea, but tea is China, and it didn't kind of make its way over to...
Right, which Deck would be ignorant of, so he has a
Yes.
stereotype.
Yeah. Gawain is going to, seeing this, expectation of, it's tea. It's something you enjoy. He's going to very cautiously take the cup, take a sip of it, burning his tongue, and very awkwardly, that was good, while very much being disgusted.
Outstanding.
This is all just truly fascinating and also severely entertaining.
15 hours of this, here we come. I'll watch 5 sessions of this.
Alright, Agent Cook eventually, I assume you leave the jacuzzi at some point.
Yeah, I'd get up, get a towel, go have one of the comfiest seats.
Can't get too pruny.
Yeah.
15 hours in hot tub.
Agent Cook eventually finds you at some point during the flight and says, so, who are you exactly, and how are you connected to all this?
Right. Of course, I haven't actually introduced myself, have I? I'll stick out a hand. Vanessa Webb. I run an art gallery.
Okay. Did the Order of Olympus rob you or something like that?
They were behind the murder of my husband.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, well, and I have other connections to the gods. I'm assuming your talking mouse does as well.
Not that I'm aware of. You have connections to the gods?
In a sense. How familiar are you with your Greek myths and legends?
Well, I've been... She pats her laptop that she's carrying in her lap as she sits. She says, I've been certainly doing a lot of reading up.
Then let me introduce myself by my other name. I'm also known as Arachne.
Her eyes narrow, but she doesn't seem to know off the top of her head who that is.
The original spider. Cursed for my hubris, I would say.
As in, where we get the term arachnophobia.
Yes. Well, where you get spiders in general, really. My previous incarnation was the first, and I've been reborn to,
She opens her laptop
yeah.
away. Wait. So you... No, you can't be, right?
Can't be what?
Well, you'd have to be thousands of years old then.
Well, I would be, but I'm a reincarnation, not the original. But I do have memories of that time, so I guess you could say I do, and I am, to an extent. In the same way that your knight friend would be thousands of years old, I guess.
Well, he's only hundreds, but...
Yeah.
I will say that Gawain, I'm assuming this is loud enough that like everyone else can hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say Gawain looks real suspicious at all of that. For a combination of like, you know, the pagan aspect, and also, oh, you're associated with the Greeks/Roman thing going on here. How do we know we can trust you? So, but I don't think he's expressing it out loud. I think right at this moment he's sort of just like cautiously watching now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mordred
Dick
eventually pipes up and says, "You don't need to worry about her. She's the one who freed me before you guys showed up."
And I have to admit, I am quite surprised to see you here.
Well, I got involved in this, might as well see it through, right?
I guess. Makes a certain amount of sense.
I think Gawain is going to sort of like step aside with Mordred and go and say, "But brother, surely you understand that we have encountered the likes of Morgan Le Fay and all of the other tricksters of our time. How do you know that this was not part of a grander plan?"
Of course it's part of a grander plan. But he thinks of a way to explain this to you. The orders that would protect this world are mired in jurisdiction and paperwork of who should be the ones to protect people from this this threat. And so, times like these, yeah, war makes for strange bedfellows.
I think Gawain's still going to look suspicious at that, but since it is Mordred telling him this, I do think he's going to go, "Very well, brother. I will accept your findings."
As an aside, Mordred peers over Gawain's shoulder to Arachne and says, "I think it might be helpful to show them your real form."
My real form is... of course. So I'm going to get up. I'm going to find, like, you know, a clear space. And I'm going to be like, I would appreciate if there was a lack of screaming, panicking, crying, and anything that would wet the upholsteries. So, because as I said before, those are expensive. And then transform.
Roll me CGI.
Cool. That's just for you plus CGI.
For you
Oh,
one.
for you one plus.
Yeah.
Boop. Oh, no.
Forgot the hashtag.
£.
Sorry, you're right.
Always.
Pound sign. My brain just has at this point swapped it to hashtags.
I know, I'm kind of being insistent ironically, but...
Boop.
All right. Your transformation, especially in tight quarters from the perspectives of the other humans around you, goes flawlessly, and you describe how you morph ideally into your form.
Okay. So it'll start with So I'm still wearing that still bathing suit. So you'll just see like sort of bulges come off the back and sort of the mouth shift down and the face sort of extend. And it's sort of like you just see like more and more extensions come off and facial features and like body sort of postures shift until it's complete, and you see the like big back spider body and the fangs and the multiple eyes and the sort of claw legs at the front. That's an adequate response, yes.
What else do you want a small rat to respond with?
I'm super glad that was actually the sound you made. I was like, what was that? Did I did I imagine that sound?
No.
I accidentally make that sound?
I think Gawain is going to like tighten grip on sword, but between Mordred and Arachne, sort of like, okay. You said no panicking. You said she's not evil. I will accept this. He will, however, turn to Mordred and like whisper very, very quietly, she still does remind me of a monster.
He chuckles and says, well, aren't we all, though?
I think Gawain looks a little hurt by that. And then like slaps Mordred on the back and says, brother, you should not be so hard on yourself.
He gives you a jolly laugh in response for that.
And there's a shot of Deck just taking this all in with his mimetic poker face.
Deck the unflappable.
I mean, you've seen it before, technically speaking.
And he didn't react then either.
Yeah.
Poor mouse is in the back of its cage. It's trying to compose itself.
Is this all you need from me, or do you wish me to stay like this for the rest of the trip?
No, that's all. Wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable.
Appreciated. And I'll turn back and a lot more like snapping noises that definitely shouldn't be coming from a human body, and take a seat.
The bones are supposed to be inside, not outside.
Yes, well.
I didn't
So
say
now that
But he was thinking
now that I've shown off my little power set, what exactly is it the rest of you can do that's so impressive for you to be brought on a trip like this?
Gawain will lift up his sword, which has not left his side. Point to the armor that is surely like neatly piled somewhere in the plane. And simply say, I am Gawain, one of the strongest knights in King Arthur's court.
So, King Arthur, you have magic powers, or?
I've been blessed so that as the sun rises, my power grows.
Oh. Cool. Well, that'll be useful. What about the mouse?
My assistance is in the cargo hold. Unfortunately, what you see right now is what you get.
I think Gawain's gonna serve as hype man here and go, this little one is a most capable mage. They pilot these large metal beasts, much greater in form than their current one.
Agent kind of covers her mouth and stifles a giggle at you calling the mouse a mage.
I really don't wish to break his dreams, but there unfortunately is no such thing as magic.
No, there is, however,
the mouse
sufficiently
says,
advanced technology. And that is what you wield.
I wield science.
There's no such thing as magic, the mouse says after the person transforms into a giant spider.
Science could totally explain the woman transforming into a giant
Is
spider.
the mouse is
somehow.
Is Nathaniel just going to be the eternal skeptic of all this?
Yes.
Despite being a talking mouse that pilots a pick,
That was entirely science.
I'll grant you that. But like, that's an amazing mental image.
You know, sometimes you just want to be in control.
I'm going to be 100% honest. It will be harder for him to justify magic not being real for Arachne than to continuously tell Gawain that magic does not exist.
Yes.
It is easier for him to tell Gawain it doesn't exist than it is to justify what Arachne is.
Yeah, because Gawain is not flashy. Gawain just strong.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So Arachne's gonna look at the mouse and be like, "If you pilot mechs, were you the one at the compound that night?"
Yes. Though, may I ask, does that mean you were there as well, and you might have been on the body on my sensors that I attempted to locate?
Quite possibly. I was indeed there that night, and I do thank you for providing a distraction. It did make getting into my target a lot easier.
Well, I did not intend to cause such a racket, but I guess you're welcome?
And, Deck, you can do what? Card tricks? A magician of some sort?
Card tricks. And with that, he pulls out a deck, flips it up. The cards float there, whirl around the cockpit, or whirl around the passenger compartment. And then 3 cards alight themselves hovering above each of the other player characters. Strength above Gawain, the Magician above the Mouse, and Chariot above Arachne. They float there visibly for all to see, and then when people's eyes are off,
really?
they flip around and all 3 come up the Fool before gathering it back up and floating back into Deck's pocket.
Well, I can see at least one of us will be a hit at children's bodies.
Chariot for Arachne, okay. Chariot for Xencarn, certainly, but Arachne.
I question
It was a debate between Arachne or Gawain for the Chariot.
Gawain would be more chariot.
I don't remember what the chariot one represents, because it's been ages.
Overcoming conflict, moving forward in a positive direction. Keep
Negative
going through sheer
factors
hard
are
work and commitment.
Rashness.
Yes.
Recklessness.
I'm just going by what I remember from Persona Social Links.
That's basically all you need to know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can't demonstrate my full powers in these confines safely. Suffice to say, there's more.
Agent Cook looks around, kind of impressed, and starts nodding to herself. Well, we've got a real team of superheroes coming together. I like this.
Your words,
Some of us
not
aren't
mine.
superheroes, some of us are just here to do what needs doing.
Anyway, I think anything else that anyone wants to role play out while they're on the plane, or do we just want to like cut to the plane continuing its flight through the air and then its travel over Greece?
What do we think the over-under is on Gawain having broken something before the end of this flight?
100%
I want to see Gawain
possibility.
interact with the microwave.
Something is broken by the time we land in Greece. Maybe 2 things.
Even if it's just Gawain's spirit.
Well, that's given. That's a given.
No, I think after like the I think after the transformation and the sort of realization of, oh, this is her plane. Okay, maybe I won't like just start screwing around with stuff.
Might be
So,
wise.
might be wise. Just, if for nothing else, like, he does know how teams work. He's just not good at the whole team player thing.
Well, I imagine because there's no like really defined hierarchy when in King Arthur's court. Of course there was.
Yeah, the hierarchy was you were at the round table or you weren't. And if you were, at the round table and you weren't King Arthur, you were all equal.
Whereas here, everyone's kind of a free agent.
Yeah. So who knows? Anyway, yeah, I think after that display and the conversation that Gawain's not gonna break anything, at least intentionally.
I'm sure it'll all be fine.
So it takes most of an entire day, and you're all going to be very, very jet lagged because it was a 15-hour flight, and there's about I think a 10-hour difference in time zones. So when you took off in California, it was early morning, and when you land in Thessaloniki, it is late morning, but you feel like a whole day has passed.
The plane was moving at 50, and if the plane was moving at 15 miles an hour, what was your velocity? Solve for X.
Well, I think because it traveled the long way rather than the short way.
Oh yeah.
So your private jet lands at Macedonia International Airport, and I imagine that Vanessa Webb or Arachne and Deck being the smooth people that they are, have a relatively easy time through customs.
Oh yes.
Oh boy, am I about to roleplay getting through customs?
First, how does Chromice get through customs? Go.
Chromice is an animal that was gone through, declared upon entering the flight, and is declared upon leaving.
Mm-hmm. All right, and he
knows how to be quiet.
The mech in storage.
Governmental property easily goes through.
Fair enough. So yeah, Gawain.
Oh boy.
No one gets to hold your hand. You all sort of go through as individuals.
Yep. And I'm certain that Marion went first. His only lifeline gone.
Yep. And she's
security. Beep 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 beep.
What? It's only a sword.
And a full suit of armor. Sir, step aside.
Oh boy. Oh.
So there
Don't worry, the drug trials are random.
Gawain is that one person who gets pulled aside at every single flight.
To be fair, he does in many ways bring it upon himself.
Yeah, just a tad.
Maybe he'll get it one day, but I think it'll be a little bit difficult. Anyways, for right now, how am I gonna get past this?
Let's just answer, two questions that they're going to ask. Anything to declare?
I'm struggling against my eternal desire to have say something. I declare that I am on a quest to stop.
Do it!
Wait, that is my eternal desire, but he did get walked through what to say to customs.
Yeah.
So
Flashback to being coached, and Agent Cook asks him the question, and he's all like,
I am on a quest to stop the cult of Zeus.
no. Gawain, no.
So I think what ends up happening is that, like, is there anything to declare? I declare that I have some costume equipment that I have been carrying with me. And presents sword and armor.
All right. There's a bit of a kerfuffle about, bringing definitely a sharp, potentially deadly weapon into the country. And then the question is asked, what purpose of your visit?
I am on
A quest to seek the Holy Grail.
smudged writing on its gauntlet. Sorry, it's a really good mental image. And he says, man, going with the costume thing makes this difficult. I am here to teach lessons in swordsmanship and chivalry.
For a movie production.
For a movie production.
Meta.
All right, I won't torture you any more than that, but suffice to say that
I did just think of one more thing, and that's after he says that, it's like, I need to make this more believable. Shall I demonstrate?
there was a long pause from the customs inspector, and then she says, in a flat voice, "No."
I see. Very well then.
It takes like an extra 70 minutes, but eventually Gawain exits into the terminal.
He looks like he has just fought a monster. The man looks worn down.
Even Mordred got through pretty quickly, and is actually it got something from a cafe in the airport.
I'm kind of imagining Mordred and Marion are like, sitting across from each other at this table or whatever, and Mordred goes, "Oh, he got out faster than I thought."
Pretty much. All right. So once you're all around, Agent Cook tells you all to sort of gather around as she opens up her laptop. And she says, "We don't have a great deal to go on, but we know that they're going to do something on the day or midnight or eve of the Olympiad or something like that, which gives us," she checks her watch, "well, about another 12 or 16 hours. So you've got to find where this Order of Olympus is operating. Now, if they're doing this at Mount Olympus, that's going to be interesting because the mountain is a national park, and I have to wonder if they're able to operate freely on the mountain itself without the help or assistance or the cover of the park rangers. So I was looking for a couple other places to look, and there's a couple of other potentially likely locations. There's there's the city right next to Mount Olympus, which is Lita Toro. So they could be operating at the base of the town, or have a base at the base of the mountain, and then they plan to travel to the mountain. Or there's also a archaeological site at the village of Dion, which also contains an ancient Macedonian sanctuary dedicated to Zeus. So I figure if we want to find the Order of Olympus, they'll be in one of those two locations, either in Dion or Lidochoro.
Which one's closer?
They're both about an hour by train or bus.
I think Gawain's going to look at the group and go, would it not be simpler for us to merely separate and quest on our own? Check each location in a smaller group?
It would save time.
I don't know about that, because that means that one group is going to be like... Dion is sort of further away from the mountain than Lidochoro is, though. Like, Lidochoro is right at the base, basically. Or rather, outside the national park zone.
Besides, we'd have to hire 2 cars, and I'm not paying for that.
Well, why even hire one? I got a ride.
Here?
Just tell me which one we're going to. And then let's meet outside.
Okay.
From what I'm gathering, and turn to the FBI agent in the group. From what I'm gathering from this, you want us to be, I'm assuming you want this done subtly, yes? And not front page news?
I'd rather not make this an all-out assault if we can help it.
Fantastic.
But we know that they've got to
we'll
be...
get a ride.
We've got to be... They have to be gathering more of these artifacts and holding them someplace that they can then transport to Mount Olympus when the time comes.
Well, here is one question. Has there been any notable activity more than usual at either location?
I would have to be in contact with Greek officials for that, Greek intelligence for that, and we just don't have that connection yet.
I might have someone I can talk to if you need information.
And who might that be?
An old friend. I'm not sure if she's well connected over this side of the world, but she certainly has her uses in the information business. She was one of the people hooked up the assassin who broke into my home. It goes by the name of The Fly.
All right. How's your connection skill?
I have a connection skill. Wow, average. This is going to go great. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, you are calling it the 10-hour time difference. So
That is true. So yeah, if that's cool with you, Spud, I'll get up and I'll...
That's cool by me. Make that roll.
Cool. Well, I'll get up and I'll pull my cell phone out and I'll take a couple of steps away. Nope.
Ooh!
Boy, no.
You're you need to get your standard cell coverage doesn't cover this part of the world.
I knew I should have gotten a more expensive plan.
But it's all, it's all... This is what happens when you don't have a sponsored brand deal with the cell phone company for the movie.
Cinematic Universe sponsored by AT&T.
Well, that was a bust.
Let's see.
With
Someone
no
roll me. Someone roll me.
Is it permissible for Deck to try to use his divination for this?
Oh, right. You.
One script roll comes.
Right, you have a special thing for that, right?
Yeah, so while Arachne tries on the phone, Deck just sits back, starts shuffling cards seemingly at random. And what does he pull out?
All right. Make me a script check.
Just did. 7.
So, oh, wow. Okay. I need to brush up on my tarot deck.
I mean, I think you could probably just tell him in this moment, like, what the basic interpretation would be.
Yeah.
It's an ace of spades. Everyone is just confused.
Using tarot for this type of thing is the type of thing you'd like think about beforehand. It could get
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't an ace of spades just be a 1 of swords? Like, isn't that where it came from?
I don't
Yep.
know.
That, or he has a map in front of him, tosses the one of swords up in the air, and sees which one of the two destinations it points to. Not all divinations are hard.
Sir, please stop throwing cards into our maps.
Yeah, you go to the gift shop.
Sir Deck, we haven't even paid for that map yet.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of like the best way to describe this, and I'm gonna say that the tower lands pointing at Litachoro.
Well, the cards are giving a suggestion of where we should check first. Shall we?
I think Gawain's gonna look at Marion like, does this seem reasonable? I don't know how people stand on magic here. I don't get it anymore. I'm kind of lost.
She's also not 100% convinced and says, "Are you sure?"
I'm sure that's what the cards say.
Is this a magic thing, or is this just like some hustle you do on the side?
Little column A, little column B.
It's not quite magic. It's certainly not my own pulling strings.
Magic is not real.
Well, I guess you are blessed by, Lady Luck, so I guess maybe the cards, maybe you can sort of divine just through sheer. You know what? It makes enough sense. I think even if they have bases in both locations, they would have to have one in Litachoro somewhere, because it's where they can best deploy from. Yeah, I think
I only asked where we should start, not if that's all they have.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. All right, I'll go. Let's go hop on a train then. And you all leave the airport, and I have no idea, how Thessaloniki is laid out, but I imagine it's not terribly far to find some kind of public transit center.
I suspect they actually probably have a train terminal at the airport. I mean, it's Europe.
Possible.
I mean, we do in Brisbane, so I'd assume the rest of the world does it.
Yeah. Or at least there's like a shuttle, some kind connecting them, and then you hop on tickets for everybody, and have to load your cargo onto a train rather than a plane this time, and a public train at that. Which I imagine makes the mech interesting.
When the U.S. military says this needs to get on this plane, no one asks questions.
I mean, I wonder if, like, Greek transit authorities ask questions, but
I mean, literally, worst case scenario is Chromice does not get on the train and he is running alongside the train in the giant mech.
Or alternatively,
if-
just
if
hops on top.
I will do both.
If we really need to bullshit it, I could probably convince them it's an art installation.
Or just get in the mech and the mech goes on on top of the train.
This is my very, very expensive metal pet.
It's expressionist art.
Do you know how long it took me to build this robot art piece?
you have to pay extra to clear out basically a whole cargo car for the mech.
It'll go on the business card.
Someone, I think just anyone might be able to chip in, but make a funding roll.
Ooh, probably not me.
Oh god, let's not.
I can try.
Let's play the rich character with an average funding score. What could possibly go wrong?
But I have +3.
By the way, I just checked the map. Yes, Designated Airport does have a train terminal right at the airport.
Excellent.
Nice. So in that case, does the mouse want to pay for it?
The mouse is paying for it.
Sweet.
The mouse rolled a 5.
Rolled superb. Yep, you're able to flash enough cash or credit to basically get a whole cargo car to yourself, while you even get comped with luxury room near the front of the car.
Sweet.
I think Gawain at this point is getting a wrong idea about like the state of public transportation.
Gawain is with the wrong people if he wants to learn anything normal.
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't wait till you get on an actual just normal person.
He was
plane.
a knight serving in King Arthur's court. Was he normal before?
Oh, definitely
Did
not.
he have a
Yeah,
common
but
experience
the people he's
before then?
around make it worse.
He was a knight in King Arthur's court. He was a prince. Like, he's got a lot going on back home. But like, I think the assumption would be like, oh, all of the things that all of these things that are so much, that would be like super fancy in my time, even in my time. Like, that's just what normal people do here, right?
Yeah, I can't wait till you get on public transport and you just tap like the stewardess on the arm and be like, "Excuse me, miss, where's the jacuzzi?" And she's like, "Sir, please get off my plane."
Right now, opens the door.
Kicks him out.
All right. Yeah, send him via taxi next. There we go. That's the solution.
Sir, where's the coffee machine? Sir, get out of a taxi.
Orders a taxi, stretch limo turns up. Everyone's just like, he's never going to know. We need to keep this going as long as we can.
It's honestly, I'm legit picturing like, I see. I this car and it arrives at the location. Pick me up. Someone else is getting picked up. But
Oh
Gawain
yeah,
gets in the car.
He gets in someone else's limo.
Gets in
That
someone
is-
else's Uber.
And I mean, who's gonna argue with the man with the sword?
Goodness. Anyway, I imagine there's a mild discussion about the luxury that Gawain is being exposed to on the train ride over.
Oh, yes.
Who, again, just sort of like after the initial sort of fear of like all of these various things, is just super fascinated.
All right. Eventually, you arrive at the train station in Lita, which is a medium-sized city, and amidst the various peaks of the mountain range that runs through the Greek coastline, and Mount Olympus towers above in the distance. and the sky is, for the most part, bright and clear in the afternoon sun. But there seems is sort of on the other side of the mountain approaching.
A most ominous sign. I think Gawain's gonna like start looking for a way to get just like straight at that mountain. Is there a horse nearby?
No, it's a reasonably modern town.
Oh, rats.
Lots of orange root villas and that sort of thing.
So
Can we
Where's
find him
the
one
map?
of those little mechanical horses that you put the $2 in? It goes back and forth.
I think he understands that that's not a real horse.
You pass by one and you tease him about it. It's like, oh, there's your horse. And Gawain gives you a dirty look.
Nathaniel's just powering up the Jaguar and getting in it. He's fine.
And while they're horsing around, Dex tries to get a feel for the mood of the town. Is it hostile to outsiders? Does it look like the normal people are just going around, or does it look like they're maybe organized?
That's a good question. I'm not gonna make a roll for that. You definitely get some looks from the people around you. This is not really. Well, I mean, it's got some tourist hotspots here in this town, certainly, but people this affluent don't usually come to this town. Usually, it's more flamboyant vacationers, dressed for
Touristy stuff.
touristy stuff. Not so much like a very finely dressed, finely dressed men and women, and also this very rugged looking man. And I'm trying to a jaguar mech?
Some sort of moving art piece, I guess.
It is a moving art piece of science.
Scientific art.
Scientific art.
So do you activate the mech just in the town and start walking around in it?
Well, actually, I'm assuming that's his intention to get anywhere. It's going to stay where it is until everyone else finds their way there, and then that's how he's getting there. So he'll just be on someone's shoulder, probably.
So it'll wait in someplace safe?
Yeah.
Or-
I assume the train station has like a storage.
I mean, there's a park and ride and there's lockers. There's not really a spot for like.
It's fine. It won't be that long. And who's gonna steal it? It's very heavy.
You leave the
Yes.
you leave the mech in the
Yes.
parking lot.
I give
Well-
it 30 seconds before someone tags it.
I mean, there's a
It's
possibility
in a
that
box.
there's a possibility that Gawain can just carry it.
It's entirely possible. I mean, to be 100% fair, all of the mechs were designed to be drones, so it can kind of move on its own if needed.
Yeah, it might have an autopilot.
Nathaniel just made it so he can manually operate them when he gets inside.
So just put a little collar on it and just have it walk beside you.
I mean,
And if anybody asks, just be like RoboPet.
basically.
Is that what you want to do?
No, I want to leave it there because it'll be more fun if it just shows up from remote activation.
Right, okay.
Can't argue with that logic.
Rule of cool.
Yep.
Rule of cool indeed.
So now you've got the town before you, and so you to answer Winged Cat's question, you're definitely getting so a lot of stares, but you don't really get the sense that like your average town person is like hiding some kind of terrible secret. Most everyone around here is just kind of, business as normal.
All right. Do we know which way the camp is?
The what?
The archaeological camp that we came here for?
Oh, there's the archaeological site was in Dion.
So this is just the closest city.
Yeah, this is the closest city to Mount Olympus itself.
Okay. I mean,
Do we have
is
a
there
map
any
of the
sort
city?
of... Can you
It
say that
does-
again? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Winged Cat, what were you saying?
Do we have a map of the city?
You can find one in the train station, yeah.
All right, looking over the map, if I was going to plot something that was going to start a large expedition up the mountain, which of the buildings on the mountainside of the city look likely as bases?
The places of interest that the only places of interest that this little like trifold brochure tells you about is sort of on the road leading up to the mountain. There's the Olympus National Park Information Center. There's the Alexandrion, which is a monument building devoted to Alexander the Great. There's the Nautical Museum of Litachoro. There's the old the monastery Agios Dionysios.
So the party hut.
That's
the
totally
Poison
where we
Bell?
need to go, is what I'm hearing.
I kind of think Gawain's gonna just start like heading towards the mountain itself. The mountain itself, excuse me. Like just basically as soon as a path can be plotted from where he is to top of mountain, he's gonna start going that way.
Greek gods do love their mountaintops, so yeah, I'll follow that.
You want to just head straight for the the Olympus National Park?
Gawain does. So I mean, like I think Gawain is of the mindset that it still would be better for us to like split up and check things out differently. And I think Gawain will say that with such little time and such a large city, we may as well separate to see if we can find these cultists first.
Agent Cook hands out little kind of flip phones, burner phones with everyone's contact entered into them, except for Nathaniel, who
I was about to say, it's like, what do you want me to do with this?
is there like a cell phone thing embedded in his little like tech bow tie speaker thing?
Yeah,
Rather than
like enough that he can be contacted via it, especially once he's in the mechs. No question, but yeah, into the bow tie or tie.
well, you're going to be traveling with someone anyway, right?
Yeah, he's assumably on one of the people with the cell phone.
All right then.
Yeah. Which one though? I'm gonna make the wild guess, not Arachne.
I want to be on Gawain's shoulder because it'd be fun.
Okay. I think Gawain would be totally okay with that.
This is just great.
I'll protect you, little mouse.
Yeah, so along the lines of I'm used to protecting the weak. No, do not fear, my friend. I will be your protector.
And I shall protect you from the modern horrors that you're going to step into.
Gawain, yeah, that sounds a little. Was that sort of sarcastic? or just genuine?
It's like a little of both.
Okay, I think regardless, Gawain interprets it as like genuine assistance, and so he chuckles and says, "Your help will be most appreciated."
Mostly just figuring out how to navigate and ask for directions.
Yes.
Dick waits for them to head off a bit, shakes his head. Well, Miss Webb, shall we begin the real investigation?
Yes, we may as well. I'll follow you.
Modern horrors like tofu.
All right.
Do you think I'm freaking out?
Make me a role that you think might be appropriate to kind of search the city.
Boy, Location?
Yeah, I was about to say location seems the most apt one.
Yep.
Location or research?
Again, like whichever you feel you can justify.
Bad in both.
I think for Gawain, oh yep, location is bad.
Location is great. What are you talking about?
Good. It's fine.
Well, you're better than Gawain. I think Gawain confused.
Mediocre in both
God
research
damn it, Dad.
and location. It's fine.
Wait, how do I get a
worse than
-3 when my skill is +3?
You
You
didn't forgot
have
to
to
test
add
that.
one.
+3.
That's actually a 0 you rolled.
Yeah. Also, I think Gawain was pointed at the mountain range and did not figure out which mountain was the right one.
That's the wrong peak, Gawain.
Yes.
Gawain, please listen to me. You're going the wrong way.
All right, so that means Arachne has the highest, got a great roll in location.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. What you've discovered through your guile and managing to ask the right questions is that the Alexandrion has been closed down for a while and a bit too long, to the disappointment of many tourists asking the same questions you've been asking.
Hmm.
And that they say for repairs, but there doesn't seem to be anything obviously wrong with the building. So there's, the rumor mill is kind of processing that or blaming it on the local municipal government.
Damn you, government. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a place to check out.
For all the other points of interest in town, it seems to be mainly business as usual. But the Alexandrion, they stand out as a
Sounds
place of suspicion.
It sounds like a nighttime break-in is in order.
Do we have that time?
It's by this point it's like late afternoon.
Okay, and we had 16 hours when we got there early morning, didn't we?
When you got here late morning, like
Okay.
12 hours ish, like
Late afternoon break-in then.
Late afternoon break-in it is. I just want to break into places.
Seems reasonable. I feel like that is your MO.
Also, because it's fun.
all right. So I imagine you all call each other and meet back up.
Yes.
What we call, do Gawain and Chromice come?
Does Gawain know how to answer his phone?
I think,
I
among other
assume he
things.
holds it up and Nathaniel just answers it.
Yeah, I would assume that is the case, yes.
Do I swipe green or red?
Green.
That said, I don't know that he would head back to the Alexandrion. I still think he would try to like head towards Mount Olympus. I think he has sort of set it in his mind that like my part of this quest is I am going to go be there and ready to fight as soon as this like whatever storm is coming hits.
He's getting reprimanded that might not exactly be where they're going. Please listen to the small mouse on your shoulder. Do not run into a battle alone when there are others. That is illogical and not good tactic.
Man, I think the other thing about it is I think Gawain is thinking that he should probably like if something is going to happen, he needs to kind of do it while the sun is still up.
That's true. So yeah, I'm going to compel bravely, proudly the lone knight.
That's what I'm gonna. I was honestly kind of like I wasn't sure if like should I say it or yeah. I think that this is a situation where Gawain is not thinking and he's just sort of going ahead.
I only say stuff because he's on your shoulder and is kind of limited to where he can go.
Yeah.
If he leaves you behind.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of whether you're doing it alone, you have him on your shoulder or
technically speaking, yes, I do have someone else there, but I don't think Gawain is listening at this point.
It's fine, he's used to it. No one listens to mice.
So while the other two are like, well, what the hell is Gawain doing? You sort of make your way up the trail, up the road to the National Park Information Center, about a kilometer above the town. And along the way, Sir Mordred catches up with you. And for whatever reason, he also has a cell phone, and he's just coming back to you like, Gawain, the others are asking for your assistance. I don't suppose you've noticed.
Gawain, I think at this point, looks towards... I think Gawain looks towards Mordred and says, "Brother, you know as well as I that if some sort of danger is occurring here at this mountain, someone needs to be here to take it on, and I believe that I would be the most apt to at least hold out a fight." And he at this point picks up Nathaniel and not picks up like roughly or anything, but sort of like hands out and turns his head to Chromice and says, "You should return with my brother Mordred. Make sure that the rest have access to your wonderful magics." And
I believe my wonderful science and intelligence would probably be more useful to the one who is running headlong into danger.
Mordred walks up and places a hand on Gawain's shoulder and says, "I see what you mean. But it seems as though the Order of Olympus is not yet stationed here. They will be coming this way at some point. The bulk of their military might is going to be back at this Alexandrion, and your skills might be better served there than here. But suppose I stayed here along this path so that I could watch any movements and inform you."
Oh, that's a real tough choice for Gawain, actually. Okay, man. I think this is. I think he's appealing to Gawain's chivalry here, and I think. I kind of think Gawain will accept that more than like the logic of maybe it's a bad idea.
Chival to a fault, then.
Yeah, I think this is the chival to a fault. And I think he will. I think he will sort of extend a hand to Mordred, and say, then I trust your honor as a knight that you will keep watch.
You have my word.
And with that, Gawain will turn back.
All right then. And Mordred heads inside the little park information center. Takes of its many displays and guided tours and whatnot, or whatever. Who knows?
Who knows? We won't be seeing it. Spud doesn't have to make it up.
Indeed.
Also, the whole splitting the party thing.
I mean, I'm glad that we got that scene though.
Yeah.
Anyway, I propose that maybe in order to make sure that the party meets up quickly,
How about
Nathaniel
Deck and Arachne have been setting up the break-in while waiting on their two wayward members to get back.
I was gonna say Nathaniel like summons the Jaguar so that Gawain
Yeah,
can...
I was. If it seemed like something was gonna happen as we were going up the mountain, I was gonna have him activate it. But if we're going back, he's just going to have it like remote activate and center on his location, so it heads towards them.
Yeah. All right, and sorry, what were you saying, Weedcat?
So while waiting for their two wayward members to return, Arachne and Deck set up the break-in, case the joint, explore security, and get ready to act. Possibly
Okay.
start acting on the theory that the other two may be making, let's just say, an entrance, as they do.
Radio. So yeah, sure, you can scout out the building in the meantime, and the Alexandrion is a tall, sort of building. Very, like, 4 squares, very rectangular, and with 3-story hallways in between them. And yeah, it's set on a flat plane. There's some statues outside, monuments, that sort of thing. All, it's proclaiming it to be the part of the Alexander the Great Institute or something like that. All sorts of, but there's also multitudes of signs that say in English and Greek and whatnot that it's closed down for repairs, or any number of excuses that, upon closer inspection, seem both excessive and inconsistent.
Right, looking for security cameras.
There don't seem to be any.
Exits only at the front or on the back as well?
It's the building's set on kind of a mostly flat plane, maybe a gentle hill around the back, half of it, and there's a big main public entrance at the front, and then some doors along the side and back, and amidst the great courtyard in the middle of the U shape. The U, the front of it faces towards you in the parking lot.
Windows?
Plenty. Some very big, tall windows at the front entrance, and many smaller ones along the sides. It's a museum. But it's all
And
like
no one
it's all
visits
like
it, right?
like stone and not marble, but something like that.
And if we peer in through the windows, there's just
It's
emptiness,
just dark.
or...
The curtains are closed. Some windows are even barred. It's not high-tech security, but it is somewhat fortress-like.
Right. Deck gets out a card, steps on it. It supports his weight, and up he goes. He extends a hand down for Arachne to either come with or come up on her own knees.
Yeah, I'm going to go around the back and go up on my own.
Fair enough. Onto the roof we go.
Hmm. My only slight problem with that is that because this Choro, by and large, is on pretty flat ground, and the area around it is fairly open. So, my question is: are you concerned about people seeing you from like a distance away, like climbing
We
up the side
were.
of this building?
We were, and that's why we check for security cameras and the presence of other people first. But if there's no cameras and there's nobody looking, then we just slip across quickly.
That's why I went around the back to try and stay out of prying eyes.
Oh yeah, Deck's coming in by the side. We're not going in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're heading for the roof, but yeah.
All right then. And I think we lost Din for a second.
That's okay. We're infiltrating. We can wait for Din to get back.
Fair enough. In that case,
Do we see anything unusual from the roof?
you notice that inside the sort of back interior courtyard, that there's a lot of like military style crates and arms and whatnot that seem to have been gathered there, sort of pushed against the walls of the building.
People or just crates?
No people outside at the moment, just crates. Some have been opened, their contents empty, save for sort of packing material that they came in.
Where are the
there's
agents?
also marks along the concrete that shows some have been dragged through the doors.
And this is in the back courtyard, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. And that brings up a good point. Where is our FBI agent friend?
She set herself up somewhere inconspicuous at a nearby building, cafe or something like that, some place that has a not great view, not close to you, but some kind of view of the building as you're heading towards it.
Do these
but like blocks away.
Do these burner phones have SMS capability or just voice?
There's texting, but it's like really awkward, like flip phone texting, where you have to press buttons multiple times to cycle between letters.
That's
that was
fine.
My teenage years and
it's still quieter than voice. Dex sends out a text message to the rest of the party, and the agents found them and locations and brief descriptions.
That's a lot of texting. You're going to be there for a few minutes.
Yeah, he's looking out, but he's trying to stay crouched above the roof while he's doing this, so nobody's going to find him. And meanwhile, Arachne is free to do something for a few minutes.
The crates. Do they have writing on them?
Would they? I don't think they do.
Or like identifying marks or anything?
Some of them have foam inserts. Some for stuff that looks like guns. Some that for stuff that looks very oddly shaped. Some round indentations, small and large. Something very long and pointed. Let's see. Lots of there's also there's newer crates which look more for like modern arms, and then there's like really old wooden crates as well that are just sort of stuffed with hay.
Alright, so they're definitely shipping antiques and other and stuff other than weapons. Good to know. Alright, I'm gonna go and join deck on the roof. Provided the climb isn't particularly long, because I don't think, but like, I'd assume Vanessa has some of her Arachne powers in human form, but not a lot, and they'd be incredibly like weakened. So she could probably climb a wall, but not a very high one.
Is 3 stories very high by that estimation?
Yes, right. I'm going to have to transform if I want to get up there then.
All right. As you start to get ready to transform, you hear a door open. And someone muttering something in Greek as they open the door and walk out into the courtyard and light a cigarette.
Do they leave the door open, or does it swing shut?
It kind of swings back a little bit, kind of the latch touching the frame, but not closing all the way.
Great. And I don't speak Greek, obviously, in IRL or in character. So, and he hasn't seen, and this person hasn't seen me?
Well, let's find out, shall we?
Probably should.
What do you think would apply?
Don't know, actually.
Location, maybe to find something to hide behind?
Well, I'm just curious if he spotted me when he walked out.
He's kind of got his head low as he's fiddling with his lighter.
Because if he hasn't, and he hasn't seen me immediately, I'm still going through with my transformation. So does CGI?
Eventually, he's going to look up as he takes a drag off his cigarette.
Because I have two possible plans.
What you've got is of several seconds before he finishes this process.
Yeah, all right. I'll try and duck behind a crate then. So location?
Sure, yeah.
Here we go. Woo! Apparently,
That's
I know all the things about all the places.
There's actually a pretty sizable, like, not active, but like there's a fountain in the back courtyard that you can duck behind. It's not like super bulky, but you're sort of lithe enough that you can, settle behind it.
I mean, you know how spiders are. They get everywhere.
Yeah. And as he mutters and takes a puff of his cigarette, he just kind of, taps his foot angrily. And he just seems rather annoyed that someone has insisted that he smoked outside rather than inside. You notice something gold on his collar. And as he turns, you notice that he's definitely got a 9mm pistol sheath at his side.
Okay. All right. Xencarn, no. Xencarn, yes. How far away am I from a weapons crate?
All the open ones are empty of their contents, and all of the closed ones are locked and sealed.
Okay. I am going
Did I
to...
say sheathed, holstered? God.
Don't worry, I knew what you meant.
I've been talking so much about freaking Gawain's sword.
Okay.
Very important.
In that case, I'm going to do an intelligent plan instead of my usual stupid plans. I'm going to pull my phone out and I'm going to text Deck and be like, there is an armed guard. Help. No, it'll be shorter than that. It'll be armed guard, courtyard, help.
All right. Well, by now, Dex probably finished his text just in time to receive Arachne. So he looks over, takes into account the situation. The guard's still not looking up, right?
No, he's just kind of looking around at the arms of the museum on either side of him at the windows, and just kind of into himself. But he's not looking all
down.
the way up to the roof.
Right. So Dex looks down. The guard's still smoking, right?
Yep.
And this is a standard cigarette, right?
Yep.
Wrapped in paper.
Oh God, yeah.
Guess what? Suddenly jerks out of his mouth and taunts him into position for Arachne to ambush.
In my human form, with no weapons. This is gonna go great.
Still, it's an unaware guard in perfect position for you to just ham hock or something. You want to props roll for this?
Because I want to know how well you can animate a cigarette just tauntingly floating in midair.
That feels like it would be incredibly difficult to make look good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that string?
Oh, but you roll beyond superb. Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
darn, you're perfect.
This is what Dex does.
Your props team knows how to make cards look elegant without a lot of CGI. You can make a cigarette dance for you. So it just out of nowhere just shoots out of his mouth with just like a of tobacco lingering on his lips, and he's just like, what? Just some kind of Greek exclamation escapes from his lips, and he just tentatively reaches for it and tries to grab it out of the air, at which point you yank it away from it again, I imagine. And then
just leading him on in position for Arachne to do something about him.
His hand reaches for his pistol, starts to unholster it, and then kind of he seems to realize how silly that looks, but also this still seems to be happening, so he just kind of like cautiously goes after it, like, what the, and he just kind of like reaching with one arm then the other to try and grab it out of the air as he heads around the fountain.
I'm gonna go. So that door didn't lock, did it?
It did not.
Okay, so while he's going in one direction, I'm gonna go the other side of the fountain and try and get in the door. Because he's got a gun, and I don't have time to transform, so I'm just gonna try and sneak in where he's distracted.
All right. Make me a physique roll to just kind of like nimbly sprint your way to the door without being detected.
Yeah.
Since you're not relying on your Drider powers at the moment.
I am not. So that's a +2. Pray for me. 3.
That's a good success. What happens is that you get most of the way there, and then you quickly open the door and close it behind you. And that sound kind of makes him go, what? As
the cigarette finally comes back and burns him on the back of the neck.
and you hear "Ah!" from outside, and he just falls to the ground, patting himself on the back of the neck, just writhing.
Which will hopefully pull more guards to this place where we are not.
It does, including in the room that that Arachne's in right now.
Yay.
You're in sort of the main exhibit hall of the museum, which has banners and statues and signs and whatnot, but also a lot more crates.
Yay, crates. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely, if I've got the space, going to transform at this point. If people are waving guns around.
How far away is Gawain at this point?
An undetermined amount of distance.
Okay. Did you see the comment in the other channel as to what exactly Deck has asked him to do when he arrives?
I mean,
that's kind of what I was assuming.
yeah, make an entrance.
Well, okay, for the purposes of this log then, cavalry charge.
Yeah,
Yep.
that. What else would it be?
You're getting a mecha panther jumping through the wall. What more do you want?
Yes.
Gawain,
That's what the audience is
jumping
paid to
in
see.
nowhere.
That's in the trailer.
Yeah, that
This is the money shot that took about a month to get right.
Because it
Some-
involves a
some-
real actor in armor on a CGI monster going through like a semi-CG, semi-practical like destruction scene.
It's gonna be great.
So the scream from the back courtyard does draw some attention. There are more guards, a scattered group of guards sort of hanging around, some mostly couple by the front door, some like walking among the exhibits, and they all sort of slowly turn towards the door leading back out to the courtyard, and their attention becomes focused that way. And you said you want to transform now?
Yes, please.
And while
All
she's
right.
doing that, Deck still has this lit cigarette under control. Is there anything flammable in the courtyard?
There's a lot of greenery. But this is a museum, and the building is mostly stone.
I meant in military hardware. Any like gas or
No.
oil or anything of that sort?
None.
Wait.
That is obvious.
Wasn't there boxes filled with hay?
Yes, there are actually.
Cool. We get some fire.
You toss the still lit cigarette into one of the crates filled with hay.
Briefly, a message flashes on screen that says, "Children, do not do this at all."
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna have you make a You're gonna have to convince someone to let you do that. There's gonna be like a note from a studio executive level that's like, are you sure we want to do this? So I'm gonna say, I mean, your script skill is really good though, so you've got a lot of sway on this. So yeah, make a script roll. You got a +4 on that, which is great. Yeah, it's a close thing, but your team manages to somehow convey how necessary this is, that Deck does this as a distraction, and so you're allowed to go through with it. Even though it sets kind of a bad example.
There has to be firemen and like on set though, just in case.
Oh, absolutely.
And the shot is very clear that there is no one near the hay that is being lit on fire. There is one guardsman, and he's on the other side of the wall.
The fire's not going to like spread and get out of control.
Well, it might not, but certainly when it starts, it's far away from any person.
All right. So
Uh,
what happens, and back to Xencarn. Arachne.
CGI, right?
Yes.
Boop. 4. That's not too bad.
You right in plain sight.
Yes.
All right. The guards
With
aim
both
their some rifles towards you that have flashlights attached to them, and you are bathed in pale light as your body stretches and
Deforms.
unnaturally deforms right in front of them, and you start to rise and stretch and tower above them in this bony, bulbous form, and you see their flashlights shake a bit in their hands as they have no idea what they're looking at.
Now, assuming these guys are related to the cultists would be a fair assumption, I would think.
They all seem to have
So-
the Order of Olympus pin on their body armor.
So I'll straighten up. Look at them with my multiple eyes. And just be like, if you wanted a Greek legend, now you have one.
Start to fire.
Oh God. Oh God, why? That was not my intent.
Make a You're in Drider mode, which means your body is mainly CGI. So, make me a CGI roll to defend or to dodge against that.
Yeah. Well, it's a tight space, so yeah. I didn't do a great job at dodging.
So you I imagine, like, where do you say start to shoot? Do you go up?
Yeah, I'd say I'd go up.
All right. But despite your boast, there's like I think I imagine your character saying like, "Oh God," and it's just climbing up the wall as a couple of bullets graze her.
Run.
And actually, I'm gonna say that I do want you to pay for a shift by 2 because you are getting technically hit, though not fatally.
Yep.
So, physical stress or consequence, something like that.
So physical stress by 2.
Yep.
Alright, cool. Oh, that's awkward.
What's awkward?
Because I only have physique 2.
Well, you still got your 1 physique slot, but yeah.
Right.
And
Yep.
you've got consequences for if you take more physical damage.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be fine. Well, I could
And
possibly
you've also got fate points if you want to try and boost your results and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
You've got resources.
Yes. Also, the meat tank will be here soon.
Yep.
Both of
As a
them.
matter of fact, Gawain,
Yes.
I want you to make a script roll.
Script roll. Man, that'd be great if my script was not also 0. It's a 0!
Ah!
Your entrance,
Statistically.
your entrance is not yet.
Okay. You gotta build up the tension even more.
Yep, just a bit. So, Deck, what's your course of action? You hear gunfire, and some bullets break the windows leading out of the main exhibit hall.
But that's all inside. There's still only the one guard and the burning hay bale outside, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what nature of hardware are we talking about in the court? Tanks?
What nature of hardware?
Yeah.
Just small arms mostly.
So no military vehicles.
No.
Okay. Well, so there are some bullets coming out the window, so the windows are now shattered, right?
Yes. The first floor windows on the inside of the U, yeah.
Right, which means there's now an opening for a flurry of cards to come in and cause general chaos among the likely locations that those bullets came from. Even if Deck can't directly see in, although he's going to try to shift position to kind of see in.
Yeah, we haven't really established how much control you have when you can't see cards and don't know the layout of a room. But I'm gonna say it's probably poor.
It's probably poor. He is also just generally flailing around in there with the cards, trying to bump into stuff and people. Knock them down, knock the guns out of their hands, make them fire randomly when they're at best going to hit each other.
All right.
Yeah, guns going off randomly in a crowd when they can potentially be pointed at the crowd is generally not a good thing for the crowd.
It's not really a crowd so much as a squad, though.
What is this crowd except the squad that has been knocked around and is
More
lacking
people.
coordination all of a sudden?
A lot more people is a crowd, is the answer.
Fair.
All right.
But he knows he is mainly buying time, 1, for Arachne to escape, 2, for the cavalry to arrive.
Make me... The thing I want to test is how good your control is in a place that you can barely see. So I want to test...
Training?
Yes, actually. Well, no, that doesn't really apply as that's for like stuff that require pre-shoot training for your actor, like driving or flight or firearms training. I'm gonna say location to say how feasible this location is for you controlling, like how much open space there is that you can flail your cards around.
Which happens to be the same as location. 3.
Yep.
So 3 was the roll.
All right, which is good. So you shoot your cards into a deck of cards into the room, and they flail about. Not particularly effectively, but it is definitely distracting to the cultists inside, who are now more confused and less aiming at the giant drider on the ceiling. So there is that. We'll call that an advantage in the scene.
Right. That's all he was doing, establishing advantage and buying time.
All right, then. Arachne.
Right. I am going to... Talking is a free action, yeah?
Although if you're talking to, like, accomplish, it would be more of an acting role along with it, but...
That is true. All right. So on the ceiling, hanging above their heads, looking down at them, as a horrific monster. I'm just going to say, "You dare shoot your god's messenger? He was already disappointed in your work, and you do this? Have you no shame?"
That's a heck of a boast.
Yes.
But do these guards understand English?
Huh.
Good question.
I didn't think about that beforehand. Crap.
I'm gonna say they do, because otherwise it's kind of a unnaturally silly moment in what's supposed to be now an action scene.
All right.
But it's still a heck of a bluff. And I don't want to completely rain on your parade because you are just sort of terrifying. So make me an acting roll.
Now, question is, am I doing a thing? I'm not really trying. Not really trying to intimidate. Oh no, I would be.
Yeah, this is. I would say that counts as that.
All right. For specials, do I need to spend a fate point for them?
Only if it is powerful enough that it requires it, which I don't think any of yours have that stipulation.
Because otherwise I want to use faceless monster, which is when transforms use CGI instead of acting when making a roll to intimidate or terrify.
Yeah, make a CGI.
Six.
All right. Amidst the flurry of cards and your monstrous face deforming even more, so a couple of guards just straight up like fall to the floor in terror. But one shouting something in Greek, and underneath him as he says this is something to the effect of, "You won't fool us, monster. We know the legends. We know of Arachne, and you won't stop us," as he takes a crowbar that's nearby and pops in one smooth motion the wooden lid of one of the crates, and brings out this huge, heavy, ornate-looking shield. You're familiar with Athena, right?
Yep.
That looks a lot like Aegis. You think you've seen that before?
Rip.
So this is a crate that was outside that's now open.
No, this is
This is inside.
yet more crates. Yeah, there were crates outside that were open, and then there was more crates inside that were closed. And he just opened one of them.
Yay. Oh, I don't even know what.
All right. The other guards still terrified, so they don't shoot at you. But they do scramble for more of the crates. One of them pulls out. One of them pulls out a bow, and one of them. Let's see. What else did I put in here? One of them a trident.
Yep. Oh god, someone help me.
Rest in pieces.
Arachne, it was nice knowing you.
Bye.
Gawain, make me. No, actually, no. Nathaniel, this time make me a script check.
What is my script even? It's 0, so let's go.
Same roll.
Hey!
-1.
Bye.
God damn it, guys.
You do not make your entrance yet.
God damn it, guys.
Bye, Arachne.
Does the deck have a sufficient view to see that the crates are starting to become open now? Inside.
Sorry. What was the question?
Does deck have enough of a view inside that he can see that the crates are starting to be opened inside?
Between so you'd have to be standing way at the end of one of the points of the U of the building and be trying to look through the first story window that's broken, right?
That's kind of what he was doing anyway to get some view of the card.
Just so I've got the mental picture in my head. You definitely hear the whole crowbar cracking open one of the crates did make a loud enough sound that it kind of echoed into the courtyard. but you don't really like see it specifically or what he pulled out.
That's fine. He just needs to know, oh, there were crates inside and they're probably being opened now. Which is enough excuse for him to step on a pair of cards to slow his descent, leap into the courtyard, guide with the cards through the window, and try to aim and get into one of the open crates to see what else might be in there, or at least to get into a crate.
You want to dive through the window flying on your cards.
Yes. This isn't what he's practiced before,
roll
at least
me-
flying on cards.
Choreography. Or rather, stunt work.
So I imagine he gets in, but probably not into the crate.
You get in.
And probably lands between the crates. That would have been a good roll if only the crate had been there.
The challenge, I'm going to say that you're going to take some physical stress, 2 worth, because of the shards of broken glass that you tried to dive through somewhat unsuccessfully in the window.
Okay. By the way, did our stress reset from the earlier combat?
Yeah, yeah, this is a new session. All your stress tracks refreshed.
Okay, stress taken.
All right, but you are just inside. You're not like at near any of the crates still waiting to be opened or anything like
Right.
that, but you are yeah. So Arachne.
Yep. Yep. Because I recognize the shield, and I'm assuming I recognize moderately the rest of it.
You have a funny feel. You're really worried that might be Apollo's bow and Poseidon's trident.
Yeah. Yep. I need to get that. Okay. So is he still looking it out, or is the shield facing?
He has just pulled out the shield. He's slipped it onto his arm, and he is now like crouched under it.
Okay. I'm just trying to think how I deal with the Gorgon effect.
You die.
Yeah. Basically, I just die. All right. So I'm going to do something really dumb. Please don't hate me. I'm gonna close my eyes and so I'm gonna move sort of. I have a general idea of where everything's sitting. Yeah.
Does Aegis? Sorry, Aegis does bear the
Gorgon head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Image, at least. It doesn't necessarily have the same.
I think it's in this interpretation, it's just a particularly effective shield, and there's like an image of a Gorgon on it. But
Okay, so we're not going with the full merge with Gorgon head one. Cool.
no, yeah.
All right,
That's
so I'm
broken.
slightly
That's
less
a different
screwed.
box.
That's a different movie.
All right, cool. In which case, I'm going to move and then like try and web down the guy with the bow.
All right. Let's see. For webbing people down, what did we decide on? It was like props for the sort of webbing material.
Yeah, I think that's what we did last time. And if it's not, it's what we're doing this time.
Yeah. It's a house rule now.
Props. 0.
He manages to like hide behind one of the glass cases containing some Alexandrian artifact, and the webs just sort of stick to that. So
Damn.
that happens. It's our guard's turn. The guy with the shield, who is still the most alert and seems to be most in charge at the moment, takes the shield and flings it towards you, Arachne.
Just gonna
just-
Captain America me.
Yep.
All right.
Let's see. Want to defend against that?
Yeah, if I could.
Can I catch some cards?
No, it is a very big, heavy shield.
Yeah, and that, yeah, if it's big and heavy, and I was gonna be like, and knock away with one of my extra legs, but no, I'm just gonna try and dodge.
All right, roll CGI to make your big old CGI body move.
Woo! Roll I'm good at. Time to roll a -5 somehow. 3.
All right. You just managed to skitter across the ceiling out of the way, and it bounces off the ceiling, then off a couple of the walls, and back down into the guard's hand, where he catches it nimbly. And so the at the same time, the guy with Apollo's bow draws an arrow from the attached quiver, draws it, but he kind of struggles with it, and it kind of shoots off into the ceiling where you were, and he has trouble adjusting his aim because he's used to, working with guns and not godly bows and arrows. He's not really trained for this.
Reasonable.
And the guy with Poseidon's trident has noticed that Deck is in the building, points the trident at him, and seemingly just from beneath his feet and rushing forward is a wave of ice-cold water that just rushes towards Deck.
Block that was cards?
Mm,
Or if not, duck behind one of the crates.
Sure, make me a props roll. Why not? So you managed to summon down your whole deck of cards. And
surf on them.
So you stand up, all your cards gather kind of ahead of your feet, and you just sort of step onto them right as the wave reaches you, and you just sort of crest past it.
Yes. Hawaiian surfer style.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, time for going to make another script check then?
Because you succeeded, you just rolled very, very high on that. I'm also going to say it's not a long distance to reach the guy with the trident, so you just get a chance to, clock him with the right hook.
Sure. Actually, possibly better yet, grab the trident and yank it up into his face. It's a sufficiently heavy object.
Just rake him with it.
Yeah, basically just punch him in the face with his own weapon.
That's harder than it thinks for a, mercenary type man who is holding.
All right, fine. Surf past and punch him.
All right. And at that moment, I'm going to say a mix of training and Nathaniel or Chromice roll CGI.
So I need to roll training.
Something I'm good with.
Me too.
You roll 0 again, I swear.
I'm gonna cry.
I rolled a 1! It's too small for Gawain. This is incredibly uncomfortable.
I mean, technically, I did roll a 0 because I have +4 in CGI.
So,
Not a -3.
So, what might have been
Oh. The trailer really made it seem cooler than it was. This is why you don't trust trailers.
yeah, there was what was actually supposed to be what might have looked like or been advertised as a really like epic heroic moment. There's this sound I imagine of Gawain like yelling his charge as he, you know, heads toward your mech heads towards the front entrance, and you crash through. The actual like impact and the Jaguar jumping through looks pretty great as the slow-mo kicks in. But as the scene continues to play out, you realize it's not actually like supposed to be like a really epic action scene. It's a comical beat as Gawain is really too large for the Jaguar, and the impact of hitting the wall kind of tips him forward, and he just kind of like bounces off the ground and slides across the museum floor.
Poor Gawain.
I like to think that for the trailer, Gawain was not in that shot. It was just the jump.
Yeah, it was like the jump and the crash in like the first like 2 seconds, and then it cut off after that in the trailer.
Sorry, one moment. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. And all the guards are just like utterly confused at no one was looking out for this, but you know, everyone was distracted by the other two coming in. So now there are 2 guards left, I think, that both have artifacts. One has been punched and is therefore knocked out by Hollywood rules. And one has Aegis, one has Apollo's bow, though eagle-eyed movie viewers might notice that there had originally been 4 guards in the room, and one of them seems to have gone missing. But enough about that. I believe
the guards had just fell on the floor. There were 2 guards that Arachne intimidated and were falling on the floor, so you're not counting those?
one of them seems to have gotten up and left.
Smart guard.
Yeah. So I believe that makes it. That was their entrance, so that makes it Arachne's turn.
Cool. I'm going to try doing my webbing trick again. On the same. No, on a different guard. I'm going to try taking the shield away. From the throwing guard.
Okay.
Because he's scary.
Because there's now this huge advantage of a distraction, make a props roll with a +2.
Ah, neat. I'll take that. 4.
Great. So you managed to web up Aegis, which is probably a little bit ironic for you, and yank it out of the guard's hands, sending it stumbling forward, landing on his gut. And you managed to pull up Aegis into your own hands, actually, if you want. Or just throw it aside.
I will attach it to one of my legs.
This was on the This was like on one of the big
Arachne
posters.
moving Aegis. Hells yeah, I would watch that movie to death.
Just like the Wonder Woman poster, but just Arachne holding Aegis.
Hells yes. Somebody fund this.
As you kind of wrap some of your spider legs around it, it kind of lightly feels hot to the touch, but not like burning.
Yeah, it would make sense. That's it for me then.
All right. Guard actions. The one guard left standing, holding Apollo's bow, just kind of like very panickedly and shaking, trying to draw the bow string for a next arrow, but just kind of like holding it, shaking in his hands, just kind of like points it between Wayne on the floor and then the Jaguar mech that Chromice is piloting, then up at Arachne, and then over at Deck with his cards. Switching between them.
It's Deck's turn. By the time he points over at Deck, Deck ain't there anymore. Deck's trying to whip around behind the guy and get a knuckle on and pretend that's a gun. And then you say, drop it.
Sorry, I didn't catch all that. What?
So this guard is waving Apollo's bow between the three other guys. Deck takes advantage of that moment to run around behind the guard, put a knuckle on his spine in an imitation of a gun, and say, drop it.
That's silly, but
Acting?
sure. Yeah, why not? Acting.
Roll the 4.
I don't know if he believes that it's a gun you're holding to his back, but you've managed to sneak behind him and poke him in the back of the neck, which is unnerving enough, and his hands twitch and slip. His grip slips on the bow, so the arrow is loosed at random, which lands. It actually just pierces straight through one of the glass, vertical glass cases and just smashes through 2 panes of glass in that and embeds itself in the stone wall at the edge of the room. And he puts his hands up.
Mission accomplished.
And then there is a metallic clinking sound coming down from one of as what looks to be a man in a suit of armor emerges from the dark corridor, holding a spear.
Does Gawain recognize either?
Nope. This does
Okay.
not seem Arthurian in any way. This seems much older.
Okay.
I feel
Just
like I
wanted to
know
make
what
sure.
it is.
Wanted to make sure it was not like, oh, it's Roman, or oh, good, Mordred already betrayed us.
I feel like like out of character know what this is.
All right. Yeah, I think we're about to encounter Durandal. Oh boy. Has Gawain gotten up by this point?
Yeah,
I'm assuming he has.
you're up and you can take your turn now.
Okay. Well, upon seeing an armored figure wielding a spear, I think Gawain's going to take a battle stance. And I think he is going to make sort of a come at me gesture. And I kind of want to trying to think of the way to do this. Can I like set an aspect of like prepared basically for combat?
Considering that you've already got training and
Okay. Let me do a reversal of that. Can I put an aspect of personally challenged on the armored figure to sort of encourage focusing on Gawain?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna compel bravely, proudly the lone knight, and you insist on fighting him alone.
Yep. Seems reasonable to me. And yeah,
You're like, this one is mine.
yeah, this one is mine. I have made a fool enough of myself today. This one is mine.
Aw, and I was gonna call dibs.
So yeah, I guess let's attack the guy.
All right. Make me a choreography roll.
All right. Unfortunately, the lighting is not good here. I'm assuming.
You've got the light of sunset, so everything's cast in gold.
So cool looking, but not necessarily like excellent lighting.
Long shadows.
Yeah. So just I don't get the bonus then.
No.
So yes, choreography. 5.
Your sword bounces off his armor. He completely
Understandable.
He completely no-sells your sword.
Understandable.
You hear a chuckle beneath the helmet, and he stabs his spear at you.
All right.
Make me a choreography roll to dodge.
It's a smaller roll. It's a 2.
I'm going to say you take 1 point of stress.
Just 1. Dang. All right. I'm good with that.
He was kind of cocky, and it was just kind of a weak jab towards you.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of... The spear definitely seems, despite looking rather kind of old and ancient, definitely has a deadly sharpened tip.
Yeah.
And there's a shot as it catches a bit of your, I would imagine would be a bit of the chainmail of your armor, and just tears off a couple of links.
Yep. Okay. So is this, I'm assuming that it's someone else's turn now?
Yeah, what's everyone else doing?
Is
everyone
Arachne
else
whipping up the guards?
Yeah, I'll probably if Gawain's already made the statement, 1v1 me, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be webbing up the guards and taking care of that.
Okay.
Is there anyone else actually left?
No, this seems
'Cause
to
I
be the
thought-
last guy standing at the...
Right, and Deck is gathering up the other artifacts to make sure the guards don't rearm themselves and make it more than one guy left standing.
Chromice is gonna basically intimidate the guards that are being tied up to not move. Because what's more terrifying than a metallic panther?
Yep.
Giant spider lady.
How about a metallic panther and a giant spider lady?
10 out of 10. Would watch that movie.
13 out of 10. Let's go. Sequel.
All right. So that's what everyone else is doing. Gawain.
Okay. I would like to okay, so I'm gonna make the wild assumption that this particular person is probably not like super trained in the spear. I'm gonna make that wild assumption. I could be very wrong, but I do think that Gawain is going to aim not for the armor, not for the spear, aim for the hand holding the spear.
Interesting.
Basically, I think I'd like to try and create an advantage.
Sure. Create an advantage with training.
Okay. Also a good skill. In fact, it's a better skill. 5 on break the grip.
Okay. So what happens is, You aim with your sword for his armored hand, and you manage to strike with enough force that his grip slips and the spear clatters to the ground. And this guard, who is he loses his composure rather suddenly, and he's like, "Oh," in Greek, he's like, "Oh crap!" And he tries to like, he's not used to wearing the full plate, or not plate, but like full bronze armor, whatever the equivalent is back then.
Mhm.
And he's just like awkwardly waddling to try and bend over and pick up the spear again. And you notice that there, despite it being like full head to toe body armor, there is one spot that is completely uncovered, and that's the left heel.
I had a thought. All right. Can I take advantage of his awkward waddling to get at that heel? To like do a sick little spin turn, sword down right at the heel?
Oof. You aim to slice it off?
I mean, Gawain is a knight, not a combat was not like, oh, you know, we'll go until one of us feels tired.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna say that there's the studio execs are gonna be like, can we please try to keep this PG-13?
That's fair. No, that is fair. I think.
Maybe stabs through instead of cut off.
Can I? Okay, so how about this instead? Like sort of still the spin around, sort of like get around, kick the heel to knock him over, like creating an advantage of basically like down, and then just try to rip off the helmet. Would that be possible?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Make
So-
me a choreography roll.
Choreography. First the heel. 6.
All right, you can. That's the only roll I'm gonna make you make here.
Okay.
You spin around to his side. He tries to like compensate to try and face you, but he just really can't maneuver in this thing. So you just slam into his exposed heel, and he's only wearing socks under there because he couldn't really fit his mercenary boots in there, and so he is just like and you actually see like the armor sort of like light up briefly with this sort of like sickly purple smoke, and he actually seems to like lock up, and he falls to the ground.
Okay. I still think Gawain's going to at that like try to take the helmet off and see what his combatant just dealt with.
You tug the helmet off. It takes some doing, but his arms are twitching, but he can't really seem to move them. And his face is kind of contorted in rather like extreme looking pain that is only just beginning to subside, and he's starting to catch his breath.
Okay. Yeah, I think Gawain's gonna like kneel on this guy's back just to kind of keep him down, and then plant sword into the ground about like an inch in front of this guy's face, and then turn to the others.
The guard does not move after that.
Yeah. And yes, I think Gawain's gonna go. I believe this fellow fashioned himself an Achilles.
Such a heel.
Boo.
Boo.
The audience boos.
Arachne
There's a loud
boos
groan
from
in
the
every
ceiling.
theater.
Yeah, the theater just groans all at once.
I imagine there actually is some chuckling, but I imagine that there are characters in the scene.
The wrestling fans have a nice chuckle, yes.
Yes.
All right, get the armor off him and whip him up. And meanwhile, Dick looks through the remaining crates, starts opening them up.
All right, you start looking through the remaining crates. You find a horn that is overflowing with what would have been considered very extravagant food back in, before Christ.
Still edible today.
Yep. Lots of bread and fruits and wine and whatnot.
Kikion.
Yeah. You also find a staff formed in the shape of two snakes wound around each other. And yeah, and that's just the sort of things you start finding here.
That's about in line. Deck, when looking through these, has some crate expectations.
Huh.
So what I'm hearing is that these guards are really lucky they opened the crates that particularly had weapons in them.
Yeah, and if any of you guys had tried going straight for the crates, you probably would have opened one of the non-weapons.
Admittedly, there would have been that would have been pretty funny, like Disney animated kind of funny, if someone had ripped open a crate, pulled out the cornucopia, and was like, "Ha! Wait."
Just fills the entire room with food.
And Deck may actually do so. He's keeping that one and the staff.
Food fight scene. Food fight scene.
Yeah, actually, how many of these artifacts can each of us carry?
You can throw them all on top of the panther.
There's all your phones buzz as Agent Cook is like, "What's happening in there? You guys okay?"
The situation has been handled, for now at least.
Might want to come in and do cleanup though.
Yeah, you really might want to get here soon.
Finally got some binoculars. Did you destroy the front entrance?
No, we came in the back. Why, is there someone at the front entrance?
I think Gawain. I'm assuming the front entrance is where Gawain and Chromice burst through, correct?
Yeah.
Actually, Deck asked them to come in the back. Where's the
No, they came
there.
in. They came in through the front because you went in through the back way,
never
and
mind
they
then.
came in through the other side, which was the front entrance.
Yeah.
That hole in the wall was entirely there when we arrived, I assure you.
Guys, Gawain's the knight. He's not gonna lie.
And the rat is going to lie really quickly.
Gawain is going to state that it was all his fault. 1,000 apologies. I was eager to ensure that no danger occurred.
Well, okay.
So we need to
What's in
secure-
there? What were they doing in there?
Artifacts.
More relics.
And we've only secured the first floor. We're not sure about the second or third, and does this place have an underground?
If we don't know that, Chromice is going to use the scanners to see if there's any warm bodies above or below them.
Sure. Roll me.
Engineering?
Sure, engineering. It's more of a visual effect, but engineering to make it look convincing.
I mean, we could do either, and that would be CGI, which is infinitely better. It's like what would it be? The visual of the scanner, or just the act of using it?
Well, it's not like a real device is the thing, so I guess it would be CGI. Engineering is for using like actual machines and actual electronics.
True. It is still a 3.
Then I shall refrain from linking to the actual machines that would do this.
I mean, like, Chromice is piloting a Jaguar mech with scanner eyes and whatnot.
I mean, he literally did it in the previous one. That's how we found Vanessa.
Did we do engineering for that one?
I don't remember. I'm just saying that the scanners being in the mechs being a thing
Yeah.
is dated. I just don't remember what we used. I think you
Alright.
just let me do that.
I probably. Give me a second. All right. You see what actually seems to be a rather hurried concentration of bodies up on the second floor of the East Wing at the end. And then you hear a loud crash. And what sounds like neighing?
Oh no, they've got Pegasus.
There's more on the second floor. We're not done yet.
They seem to be moving outside of the second floor now. There's actually a very, very now large and darkening heat signature outside the building.
The mech is going outside.
You head outside and you see what seems to be this chariot flying through the sky, burning red as the sun, pulled by two stone Pegasi.
How is this chariot?
Wow, this super sucks.
You could barely tell behind the bright light of Helios' chariot. But there seem to be several more men sort of like huddled onto it, holding tightly for dear life. And one of several crates tumbles out of it as they escape from the museum and fly over Lidacharo towards Mount Olympus.
Do I have time to pick up the spear that was just dropped on the ground and throw it at that chariot?
Oh man, that's interesting. I'm gonna say that's gonna be a script check because that could significantly change the course of the scene.
Yeah, probably.
The course of the story if you manage to land that.
It's a 1.
You do pick up the spear and throw it, and you actually throw it pretty darn far, but it embeds itself in the hill, and close.
Well, I did what I could.
Chromice, can you catch up with it?
I can attempt, but I can't do much from the ground in this.
That's okay. You know where they're going, and Gawain can ride you in anti-air from there.
Then track my
Arachne?
location.
There's a text on all of your phones. Like, did you all see that?
Yes, and currently in pursuit. Track my location. And if Gawain wants to jump on, he's got to go now because Chromice is going out.
I gotta try, I guess.
Do you want to take Apollo's bow? The bow?
Do it.
God. Yeah, I think that might be the better option.
Deck tosses. Deck had picked up the bow, so he tosses it to Gawain.
All right, I think Gawain should be trained in archery as a knight.
Yeah, actually.
So
Sick, actually. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's go. Go,
let's
go,
do
go.
it.
It's going to be great.
And then meanwhile, Deck pulls out a card, enlarges it, motions for Arachne to jump on, and pursues flying carpet style.
I swear to God, if you start singing, I will throw you off this card.
I can show you the world.
This is an
I will
action scene, not a song scene.
I will strangle you with webbing and make sure they never find your body.
I'll show you the world down there, tosses him off.
Do you know what spiders do to prey? Do you want to find out firsthand?
You know what female spiders do to their lovers?
Remember, everyone else is squishy and filled with juices.
We can keep going. Let's
Anyway,
not.
I'm going to say that your big, bulky card flying carpet thing is not going to really outpace Helios' chariot.
Oh, hell no.
Doesn't
But-
need to outpace, just needs to be able to try to catch up, enough for Arachne to throw something at them.
Sure.
At least keep in sight.
They've got a bit of a head start, though, but Gawain riding Chromice's Jaguar with Apollo's bow might be able to get a shot off.
Potentially. There's
Another
probably not
movie
that many
poster.
arrows left.
There is one.
There is one. That's what I figured.
Make a training roll.
Okay. Fortunately, again, training good.
I wish this was mine.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Yeah, but my training is 5.
You also make a training roll to. No, that wouldn't really make sense with the mouse. But make a make a stunt work roll to try and keep him steady, to try and give him a bonus.
Let this work.
Can it be engineering? Because technically,
He's
The
he's writing. In order to pull this off in the movie sense, he's writing some kind of mechanical apparatus that has CGI around it.
right? So that's why I'm arguing engineering instead of stunt work.
Yes, roll engineering.
Yes. 3.
3 and 3.
Hey.
All right, your arrow flies. Your training is strong, and your arrow flies true, and it is Apollo's bow, which is, one of the legendary bows of history.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a trick shot, to be sure, but it seems like as it fades in the distance flying towards the mountain, you manage to strike its wheel, and it cracks and falls from the chariot, which starts to wobble in the air. And the statuette Pegasi struggling to keep it aloft as it careens, like a falling plane towards the base of the mountain.
Sick.
Freaking cool.
Hells yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think at that point Gawain is looking at. I think, are we passing by the spear at any point?
Yeah.
We are. Can Gawain pick it up as they're running?
Yep.
I just got a lance, y'all.
You're not Lancelot though.
No, but I can joust like hell.
Jousting off a metal jaguar.
Yes.
So
Also in the trailers, has to be.
I'm imagining if they're not in the trailers, these are like movie poster shots.
This is definitely like the Gawain Chromice movie poster scene.
Which I think the funny part about that is I don't know that it would be immediately obvious that it's Chromice, Because it's just like, oh, it's Gawain with this metal jaguar and this.
I think-
I think the insinuation is made because he's the only one with the mechanical animal.
I think like
Yeah.
on the poster version, like the cranium is kind of like opened up to reveal the little mouse at the cockpit pulling the
Yeah.
levers.
Yes. Now the question is, does he have the spear or the bow?
He is both.
Spear, bow slung across his back.
And of course,
It's-
Galatine in his other hand.
No,
Gawain
it's
is kitted out.
the posters on one side of the country are with the spear, and the other side of the country have the bow. And if you want to see both, you have to fly to them.
Or just Google it.
Shh.
Anyway, so on your vehicles, and I guess Agent Cook in her van as well, race along the road through Lidachoro and up the road to the Olympus National Park and the Information Center where you left Sir Mordred. And just a short ways up the road from there, you find the burning chariot. It's sunlight heat rising up from it as its various pieces are scattered across the field. The guards that were riding in it are scattered about as well. And the crates it was carrying are also just like all over the place as well, like about another 6 of them.
Cool.
Cool.
And as they're riding up, one of the shots of Deck and Arachne, Deck pulling out some snacks from the horn. They're still going full speed, but as fast as they can. So Deck's just unconcernedly snacking and passing Arachne a few grapes.
Hells yeah. Just casually sitting on this giant trading card, eating, not giving, just not concerned.
Meanwhile, the townsfolk below are confused at the flying chariot, the knight riding a mechanized jaguar through town, and a flying playing card that seems to be carrying a couple of people. And a black government van.
Probably fine.
As
Oh.
the sky darkens and the clouds rumble overhead.
Oh boy. Things are about to get dangerous. Yeah, so it's how far away is this like information center from the like crash site?
It's like around the next bend in the road.
Okay. So there does it seem reasonable that Mordred would have seen it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it'd
Okay.
be impossible not to. You would have heard it
Right.
first, certainly.
Yeah, okay. So I do think that Gawain won't try to stop by that center then, and we'll assume that Mordred is doing his nightly duties and attending to this crash.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think once Gawain and Chromice arrive, Gawain's gonna, get off, try to like head things off at the pass.
Despite the burning and a few staffers from the information center kind of looking on very concernedly, it's not a terribly chaotic scene. The guards are all unconscious, thankfully not dead. Just lying on the grass or the road.
Mm-hmm.
The stone pegasi are in pieces, just shattered across the road.
I see. Is the wheel nearby? Like the not
The wheel you actually spotted in town on your way through.
Okay. All right.
The arrows stuck right in the middle of the wheel well, where it connects to the rest of the frame.
All right. Cool.
Like snapping off part of the beam that connects it.
All right. Good shot. Thank you, Chromice. Yeah, I think Gawain's gonna try and like basically as soon as he and Chromice stop there at the thing, at the crash site, get off, start picking up these guards and like putting them in a pile.
All right. Arachne and Deck arrive shortly after as you start, rounding up the guards. The cultists, rather.
Yeah.
Tie them up. Do we think this is the only bit, or do we think any others may be independently arriving at the summit?
You don't know yet.
I think Gawain is just going to point up at the darkening sky and say, "I do not think that if this were over now, we would be dealing with that."
Quite right. Let's secure these and then head up. And so Deck starts gathering up the artifacts.
You turn over the crates and they're empty.
Oh no.
They've clearly all been forced open, and whatever is inside seems like there might have been a helmet, some kind of footwear. There might have been some manner of cloth, it looks like, maybe. And something very long and jagged that was kept in a metal case.
Yeah.
Oh joy.
Oh, each one of these hurts. Every single one of them hurts.
All right, then after running up the guards
It
and
starts
tying
to
them up-
rain.
Of course it does.
Of course it does.
Thunder booms overhead.
Okay, yeah, let's get going now. After tying up the guards.
I have a very, I guess, important for Gawain question. So this chariot, does it glow like the sun?
It does, actually.
Did that wheel we pass by still maintain its glow?
Somewhat, not as, purely, brilliantly, and intensely as the whole chariot did. But, yeah, it had a bit of a glow of sun to it.
Okay.
More importantly, is there an easily dismountable piece of the chariot right here at hand that we can slap onto Gawain?
Gawain's gonna cut off the other wheel.
Yeah, that would be my answer to that question, Winged Cat.
Do you want to cut off the wheel, or do you want to reattach the other one and just take the whole thing?
The other one's broken and has an arrow in it.
The other one's broken and also a ways back. I think Gawain wants effectively a shield of light now.
Just snaps the axle with a metal
Yeah.
paw. Here. Hands it in mouth. Like a frisbee.
Gawain accepts it.
All right, your special stunt, or star power maybe is another name I'd considered, is now broken because you now have sunlight. Just really good lighting on you at all times.
I think very specifically, well, here's the thing. I don't think it's going to last very long.
Perhaps not, but
I think this is probably only going to maybe get through fight.
Yeah. Maybe one fight.
Yeah.
But still, I like the idea here. And I like there's some merging symbolism here. Nice.
Yeah. As soon as you said it's Helios's chariot, my brain was like, I can use this.
If only the whole chariot was still usable, you just ride on the chariot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that he would have chariot training, but he'd definitely have horse training.
Panther training.
Still working on that.
Yeah, well, learning but slowly. To trigger another aspect.
Indeed. Well, that's been a very Gawain-centric session, and as the rain falls and the thunder booms, the obvious thought occurs to Gawain: where's Sir Mordred in all this?
No. Stop.
And that's where we'll leave off for today.
Stop this.
Yep.
Why
He's there. He's just invisible. He's got Hades' helmet. He didn't betray us again.
I'm really super pleased that enough of you are familiar with Greek artifacts that I just have to name them or describe them, and you already know, and what all the implications are. I love it.
Yeah.
enough that I know this next session is gonna be horrible.
Oh God, yes.
Oh
Turns
my
out a
gosh,
whole bunch of us are
really
nerds. Who'd have guessed?
Wow, amazing.
Man. Someone who honestly, if it hadn't been for the action scene elements, both me and Gawain would have been nerding out about Alexander the Great.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to be Spudventures, the Cinematic Universe Session 2. Thank you for listening. Thanks to everyone here for playing. If you want to listen more to this, there's the podcast at spudventures.libsyn.com or on youtube.com/newbiespud. If you want to support this game and more like it, there's patreon.com/newbiespud. That directly supports me and all the various projects that I do. If you want to watch this live on another occasion, we stream it. We try to stream it Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/newbiespud. And once again, I want to thank Xencarn, Winged Cat, AvisEcho, and GreatDinn for playing. And we'll see you next time for probably second session of Forgotten Ones and then the conclusion of the cinematic universe. I'm really excited.
Me too.
Hells yeah.
excitement.
Looking forward to next time, with Swing to Shield being the real deal.
All right, and that'll be it. Thanks for listening.